Rain had just stopped falling when Noah Hart noticed the little girl standing barefoot at the edge of the empty playground. Her dress was damp, her small fingers clutching a worn-out teddy bear, and her wide, tear-glossed eyes stared at the puddles shimmering beneath the soft daylight. Noah froze. He had come here every afternoon after work to clear his head while his son Jamie played on the swings. But today there was no laughter, no other children, only this lost, trembling girl who seemed like she had wandered out of another world. "Where's your mom or dad?" he asked gently, stepping closer. She didn't answer. She just hugged her teddy tighter and looked around confused. Something in her face, fear mixed with innocence, pulled at something deep inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. Before he could ask again, Jamie came running from the slide calling out, "Dad, who's she?" Noah crouched down and looked into the girl's watery eyes. "Hey, sweetheart, it's okay. You're safe now. We'll figure this out, all right?" The girl nodded weakly, her lips quivering. That moment, simple, quiet, and heavy, would change Noah's life forever. Before we dive deeper into this story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing what's right even when no one's watching, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps us spread more stories that touch the heart. The police came, took a few notes, and promised to look for her parents. But as the sun began to dip behind the houses, no one showed up. No one called. No one claimed her. She didn't even remember her full name, just Ella. The officers told Noah they'd keep her at the station overnight, but when Ella clung to his sleeve, crying that she didn't want to go, something inside him cracked. Maybe it was because he knew that fear. The fear of losing someone you love. Maybe it was because he saw in her the same helplessness he'd seen in Jamie's eyes the night his wife died 3 years ago. So Noah did something most people wouldn't. He offered to keep Ella until they found her family. The officers hesitated, but after checking his record and confirming his status as a foster volunteer from years ago, they agreed, temporarily. That night, Noah tucked Ella into the guest room, where she fell asleep holding Jamie's old blanket. He sat in the hallway for hours, staring at the door, wondering why his heart felt like it had just been stitched and torn at the same time. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the kitchen window as he made pancakes. Jamie sat at the table swinging his legs, talking excitedly about how he'd show Ella his favorite cartoons when she woke up. For the first time in a long while, laughter filled their small house again. Days turned into a week. Ella began smiling more. She followed Noah into the garden, helped him water the plants, and sat beside him while he worked on his carpentry projects. She never talked much about her past. Only fragments: a big house, a mother who was always sad, and a driver who didn't come back. Noah didn't push her. He knew some wounds needed time to breathe before they could heal, but he couldn't deny how attached he'd grown. He told himself it was temporary, that soon her family would find her. Yet every time she laughed, every time she called him Mr. Noah, it became harder to imagine letting her go. Then, one ordinary Tuesday morning, everything changed. A black SUV stopped outside his house. 2 men in suits stepped out, followed by a tall woman in her mid-30s, elegant, poised, with eyes that could silence a room. She looked out of place in his modest neighborhood, her white blouse crisp against the morning light, her expression a mixture of desperation and control. Noah stepped outside, uncertain. "Can I help you?" The woman's voice trembled as she asked, "Are you Noah Hart?" "Yes." Her eyes softened, then darted past him to where Ella was playing with Jamie in the yard. Her hand covered her mouth, and her voice broke. Ella looked up, confused, then froze. For a moment, neither moved. Then, like a spark igniting, the little girl dropped her toy and ran straight into the woman's arms. "Mommy," she cried. Noah felt the world tilt. He stood motionless as the woman held Ella close, tears streaking down her cheeks. The security guards stepped back respectfully while she whispered, "I found you, baby. I found you." Her name was Vivienne Cole, billionaire CEO of a global tech empire. The story was all over the news within hours. Her daughter had been kidnapped 3 weeks earlier. The driver, it turned out, was behind it, a trusted employee who vanished after abandoning Ella in a nearby town. Vivienne had offered $1 million reward for her daughter's safe return. But Noah hadn't known any of that. He didn't want the money. He only wanted Ella to be safe. Vivian insisted on thanking him personally. She invited Noah and Jamie to her estate for lunch that weekend. Her mansion overlooked acres of garden and glass walls that reflected the daylight like a dream. But the atmosphere inside was fragile, polished yet cold. Ella clung to Noah most of the time, even with her mother nearby. Vivian tried to smile, but there was something distant in her eyes, like she was used to being surrounded by people but always alone. As lunch ended, Vivian asked to speak privately with Noah. "I don't know how to thank you," she said softly. "You saved my daughter's life. You don't need to," he replied. "I just did what anyone would do." Her gaze lingered on him. Not everyone would, especially not someone who's already been through loss. Noah stiffened. "You know about my wife?" "I read the report," she admitted. "Car accident. You've been raising your son alone ever since. I'm sorry." Silence settled between them. Then she said something unexpected. "Ella won't stop talking about you. She calls you her safe place. I want you to keep seeing her if you're willing." He was stunned. "You mean visit?"
"Liz,"
she said, looking out the window toward her daughter. "She's been through trauma. Therapy helps, but she trusts you in a way she doesn't even trust me right now. I'd like you to be part of her recovery." From that day forward, Noah and Jamie began visiting the Coles every weekend. The children played in the garden while he and Vivian talked. Sometimes about Ella, sometimes about life, sometimes about the weight of loneliness that neither money nor success could erase. Noah saw the cracks beneath Vivian's polished image. The guilt, the exhaustion, the emptiness of a woman who had everything except peace. And slowly, a quiet bond formed between them, built on understanding, respect, and the shared pain of loss. Months passed. Ella blossomed again, her laughter echoing through Vivian's mansion like sunlight breaking through old shadows. Vivian smiled more too, softer, more real. And though neither of them spoke it aloud, there was something growing between her and Noah. Something neither planned nor fully understood. Then one afternoon, as they watched the kids chase bubbles across the lawn, Vivian turned to him and said, "There's something I haven't told you." Her voice was steady, but her hands trembled. Noah frowned. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "Ella's father isn't who everyone thinks he is. I've told the media he died years ago, but that's not true. He left when I was pregnant. He didn't want to be a part of her life. Until now." Noah's stomach tightened. "He's back." Vivian nodded, tears gathering. "I found out about the kidnapping, and now he's threatening to take Ella away, claiming I'm unfit because I was too focused on my work." Her voice cracked. "I can't lose her, Noah. She's all I have." Without thinking, Noah reached across the table and took her hand. "You're not alone in this. We'll fight it, whatever it takes." And they did. When the legal battle began, Noah stood by her, testified about the love and care she gave Ella, about how she had changed since the incident. The court ruled in Vivian's favor. When the verdict was announced, she broke down. Not as a billionaire, not as a public figure, but as a mother who had finally been seen. After the hearing, she turned to Noah, eyes glistening, and whispered, "You gave me back more than my daughter. You gave me back my faith in people." He smiled faintly. "And you reminded me that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means finding new reasons to keep going." Weeks later, Vivian hosted a small garden picnic. Just the four of them. Ella and Jamie chased butterflies while Noah and Vivian sat beneath a tree. She looked at him, the sunlight catching in her hair, and said softly, "You know, I used to think money could fix everything. But now I realize, kindness is the real currency that changes lives." And Noah looked at her, his heart full. "Then I guess we're both richer than we thought." And as Ella ran up, laughing, wrapping her small arms around them both, Noah knew that sometimes the family you're meant to have finds you when you least expect it, not through blood, but through love, loss, and the courage to open your heart again. Tutu, if this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Keenness Journal. Every click helps us keep spreading stories that remind the world that kindness still matters. Special request. Comment below what part of the story moved you most. Noah's kindness, Ella's innocence, or Vivian's transformation. We'd love to hear your thoughts.